This is the book I was talking about. Am I letting out the secret, or do people know? People know, it's advertised. So this is very cool. This is what you're going to be carrying about today. How much are the books? Show Special 210 pre-launch. Autographed or not autographed?
Autographed.
Autographed, wow. So the book is titled Weekend Warrior to Full-Time Freak. I'm just currently a weekend warrior, but I'm looking to be a full-time freak. It's much more fun to be a full-time freak. Who would like to be a full-time freak? If you said that at any other show, people would look at you like you're mad. But at a photo film show, everybody wants to be a full-time freak. Well, this has covered so many topics in photography. She could have been a full-time freak in many areas. But you selected, you finally found your niche after dabbling in all sorts of things, marketing and strategy and fashion and beauty. And there's pretty faces coming up after me if you want to get a good photo. This is who you got there doing all the hard labor for you. So you got a big.
This is a videographer whose name is Tash.
Tash has been tasked with all the labor. He brought the cameras in and the video stuff, and he's going to get smacked afterwards if he gets it wrong. So Tash, don't get it wrong. How's the show been for you guys? You enjoyed it? Thumbs up? I know it's a boot camp this year, so it's a bit smaller, but it's a good vibe. I like the vibe this year. And I think pretty audience than last year, I'm just saying. On average. Who was here last year? It's not personal. I'm just saying on average, you guys were the good-looking folks who stayed over, and we brought in new pretty faces. So I'm going to ask this to come up and join us on stage, and we'll just have a chat for a minute. We've got a couple of minutes to go still. You got your mic ready? Good. Now I just want to ask, was this coincidence that your outfit and the floral on your design?
That's me, so
right.
I take everything I own through in my business.
So it's not coincidence. But there's no floral stuff on the book. How long did it take you to write that book?
A month.
Is that all?
Yes.
I suppose that's what happens when it's real.
Well, if you have all the knowledge and it flows out from you, so it comes easy when you have an idea and a strategy and you want to share it with people.
Did you get somebody to edit for you? Did you?
Yes, I got it.
I was going to say you sound super talented. It's getting too much for me. What are we going to be chatting about? Just how to become a full-time freak, how to get into it full-time.
Yes.
Into a passion. When did you get into it full-time?
2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
And how many years did you dabble for?
6 years. So a very long time. It took me a long time, but then I had a few aha moments, essentially, and it were those aha moments that made me think further and actually implement strategy into my own business. It's easy when you do it for other people. When you want to do it for yourself, the creative tend to like put it away, don't do it for ourselves.
Exactly.
It's about setting yourself as a priority.
I do some business consulting, and much easier to do for them. And I also do, in my part-time, some relationship consulting. And I'm much better at it than my own relationship. Have you ever found? Much easier. Just divorce him. Great advice. You have to. No, that's not the story. Nikon guys doing over here?
Sorry.
Just chatting down. Sorry, no, you can't have me on stage. But our Nikon friends have been here. You were here earlier. Nice to see your faces back. A few minutes still, if there's anyone else who wants to come past. Maybe I'll let you get started a little bit too early like this, so we can finish early. Just to let you guys know very briefly, we've got the draw coming up. Have you all entered? Entries close at 3, so if you haven't entered, do so now, because otherwise you'll be in the middle of the talk. And then we're going to be doing the draw at 3:30. Okay, straight after this talk. Some extra giveaways, and then 3:30 draw the prizes worth 18,000 Rand, the first prize. That's quite nice.
Yes, lovely camera as well.
Beautiful camera. Are speakers allowed to enter?
I don't actually know, but I didn't feel it was right for myself to enter because I have a nice camera already. I'll give it to the other people who need a camera more.
And it would be a bit odd if the MC won as well. It'd be like, okay, and the winner is me!
Exactly.
I was working at a casino once, and they were doing those cartels as they do them. And it got so popular they had to move it outside into the garden, so there were no more cameras. And a lady came up, they asked her to come and do the draw, somebody from the audience, which they subsequently stopped doing. And she had planned this whole thing. So she had her husband's ticket in her hand, but the moment got too much for her. So she put her hand in and she drew out the ticket which was in her hand, and she hadn't yet handed it over or opened it. And she went, we've won, it's my husband. Now how do you know you've won? And it was still folded in her hand. And so she didn't get the car, and she went home with cars.
See, sorry, Tash, you can't enter either.
Well, yeah, Tash, you're excluded as well. No, you can enter, just don't come and do the draw and then pull it out and go, this, we've won. Yeah, before you unfold the ticket. I've given you good advice for today. Right, there we go. That's almost the last seat full. I'm going to hand it to you. Do you want to join us? If you'd like to watch from the sidelines. Is my name Mike? Mike. I'm not sure if you're just pulling my leg, asking me if my name's Mike or if you're being serious. Is this a serious question? What's the question? It's asking what? For your car keys? What kind of car is it? BMW. Only a BMW driver would come and interrupt a talk to come and ask for, I mean, literally. You know what, Mike? No, I've only got my own car keys. If anybody's found us with a BMW car keys, don't hold it against her that she drives a BMW and drives in the fast lane and flips at you and doesn't indicate. Now, I was trying to work out the other day why they make indicators on a BMW. Because the drivers don't use them. They do not use them. Indicators no longer in fashion. How did you hear it? What did she say? That's a woman's ESP. You weren't even looking at her. And you were looking at me and you went, exactly. How did you? The guys haven't got a clue what's going on. You're speaking on the seventh.
It's a different level.
Yeah, it's a different level.
It's like everyone's here and women are here.
Exactly, it's like a dog's whistle. I mean, the frequency that only dogs can hear. There's a frequency only women can hear.
Pitch perfect.
Right, I'm going to go look for your keys. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands in and give this a very warm welcome. You're going to love her talk, and we will see you afterwards. Enjoy this.
Thanks. So, hi everyone, how are you? Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a little video. Can everyone hear?
star never danced completely. All we need is a love heartbeat. No, I don't care if the flame burns low.
So I hope you're all excited for this talk. I'm assuming that most of you are either shooting on weekends, whether you're professional amateurs, hands up here if you're in that space. Okay, good. That's what I like to hear. So I have been shooting on weekends for a large period of my career, and I had a full-time job at the time in the marketing sector, and I slowly transitioned into full-time. And I transitioned in a time that I actually didn't have a full-time career. I one day walked out and I quit because I wasn't stimulated anymore. I reached a ceiling. There's only so much you can do under one brand creatively. And that was the best of my life, was actually to walk out and decide that I want to work full-time on photography and with photographers. Okay. So it's possible. I'm just quickly. So I want to start with a story that I heard from this guy called Sean Verona Hiran, and it was a story that really touched my heart, and I hope that you see the value in the story as well. And the story starts with a young boy going to his father and asking his father what is the value of his life. And the father in response gave his boy a rock and he said, "Son, take this rock to a market, and if someone is interested in buying this rock, just hold it 2 fingers silently, and that's what you do. Then you come back home." So the boy did what his father asked him to do, and he sat at a market. A woman came up to him, and this woman said, "Oh, I want to put this rock in my garden. How much is it?" And the boy just held up his 2 fingers silently, and the woman said, "I'll take it for $2. So the boy went back home and he told his father that a woman wanted to buy the rock for $2. In response, his father said, "I want you to take this rock to a museum. And when you take it to the museum again, only hold up 2 fingers in silence." So the boy goes to a museum, and a man comes up to him and he says, "I like this rock. How much will you give me for it?" And he holds up 2 fingers in silence. And the man says, $200, I'll take it. And the boy goes back home with the rock. And he's in shock, and he tells his father, "I can't believe that someone wanted $200 for this rock." And the father says, "Son, there's one last thing I want you to do with this rock. I want you to take this rock to a precious stone store. And I want you to take it up to the owner and see if he's interested." So the son takes it to a precious stone store. And the owner looks at it and he exclaims, "Oh my word, this is the most precious stone in the world. How much can I get it for?" And the boy just holds up 2 fingers in silence. And the man goes, $200,000, please, I must have it. And the boy runs back home. And when he tells his father that this man wanted the rock for $200,000, the father responds and says, "Son, do you now understand the value of your life?" So what I want to tell you about the story is that it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what your qualification is, it doesn't matter where you are. It matters how you carry yourself, and it matters how you value yourself and surround yourself with people that value you. And that makes a big difference in your business. So, who wants to make money from photography full time? Put up your hands. Now there's a second thing I want to ask you. Now what? Has anyone actually worked on a strategy yet? No one? Okay, 3 people, 4 people. Okay, Okay, now this is the issue with a lot of creative people. What tends to happen is that they're very creative and they can do things creatively beautifully, but when it comes to the bigger issue, the bigger picture, they shut down. Okay? Because where are you going to get your clients? How are you going to market yourself? And that's the issue I think that a lot of photographers have. And I want to actually talk about where it all starts. So we all have a vision, we have a dream, and most of us feel very strong about that dream. Maybe it's photography, maybe it's just being happy in life, maybe it's about creative expression. Sorry, I've completely forgotten to go on. But essentially, a lot of issues that we have as photographers are that we have self-confidence issues. We go, if only I had a better camera, if only I had a better lens, or if only I had enough time after my full-time job to actually work on my dream, because I'm just too tired to do it after a day. And that is setting the ideal for yourself, which is fine, but it's damaging to an extent, because you set that ideal for yourself, and every time you don't get to that ideal, you break yourself down. And the ideal world will never exist. There will never be the perfect time to go into something full-time. But what you can do is you can plan a strategy in a way that works. Okay. It's about moving away from success into proactive thinking. Success is subjective. We all have a different idea of success. If success is real, so is failure. And I think we make these things a lot bigger than it actually is, because failure only happens when something is ended prematurely. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just ended and we didn't get it back up and do it again. Okay. So it's about moving out of those damaging beliefs. And what I want to get to is to shooting blindly, where you have no plan of action. And where the vision starts is with your dream. And I think it's often overlooked in the business of photography, is that we shoot everything and anyone. We're trigger happy. And that's good for experience, and it's good to get in money that way. But what are we actually representing in terms of a brand message to our clientele? And let me explain very visually. This was old work of mine. Okay? Now, technically some of those things are completely incorrect. There's overexposed photos. One of the photos isn't in focus 100%. My clients didn't pick up on that. I was busy with clients doing big brands and events and weddings and all of that. But now I'm going to show you something about what happened when I found my niche. I found my niche, and I decided on a type of photography that gives me joy, a type of photography that I am good at, and even when I wasn't good enough at it, I became better. I made sure that I was the best at it that I could be. And I think now you can see, I want to ask you, what's the difference in this body of work and the older body of work? The difference is that my work actually became better. Do you all agree? Okay. The quality of my work became better when I decided to focus down on a specific niche. And my niche was about doing things artistically. It was about capturing portraits because I enjoyed working with people. And somehow that I landed up in fashion and beauty. So the artistic expression was still there, but it started coming through better when I started focusing on being the best at that part of my photography. So my work value has increased, but I did it very deliberately. And so when you go through visioning, and there's a whole process in my book that I take you through to actually go through the processes of finding your vision and finding what you're comfortable with. But there's still a what now element. You can identify what type of photographer you want to be, but have you actually identify what your business needs to work, because it starts with a vision and you move into identifying what your business needs. Now, every person's business will be different. What your business is, you might need something completely different to what I need, but it's really about taking the time to jot down and see what your business needs. So it's the why, the who, the what, the how. And I don't want to talk completely about everything that goes in my book. We don't have time for that. But in my book, I do talk to you about a business plan. I talk to you about costing. I talk to you about how you can cost yourself, regardless of what level of photographer you are, that makes business sense. Okay. But today, it's very interesting, like I said earlier, I think a lot of us don't actually know how to brand and market ourselves, even though we can do that for other people likely, because that's just how we are. So I'm going to talk about brand, finding your client, and how to market yourselves through marketing channels. Okay. So let's go to logo. Now, I'm going to use the example of a maternity photographer, just as an example, but you can try and apply this to your own type of photography once you've identified. So the first step is identifying your niche. The second step is to start with the branding. And I think a lot of people start branding prematurely without the brand research. Months of research can go into brand development. And people jump prematurely to logos when they haven't even really thought of who their client is. So, someone came to me, a maternity photographer, and she said to me, the target audience is mothers. Those are the people who will use my service, and they're mothers from this age to that age. And I said to her, are you sure that's your client? And she said to me, of course, who else would be my client? And I said, yes, a mother might be your client, but not all mothers are your clients. So what are you doing? Why isn't your social media campaign, why aren't they working? And we identified that it's because she wasn't specific enough. Because not all mothers value maternity photography. There's no emotional attachment to that type of photography for them. Some women do not like to be photographed, specifically in the time of pregnancy. Okay? Additionally, it's generally people who are maternity photographer clients have a bit of a comfortable income bracket where they can spend on luxuries like maternity photography. It is an expense, so expenses that are luxuries will come after everything else. But if that mother likes to be seen on social media, if you see photos of her on social media, she likes to see herself. And if she's likely to use a photographer previously, even years ago, she's likely to use a photographer again. What I often do instead, because we all know the word target audience, but we don't go very specific. So what I want to say is that you can go specific by asking very specific questions, or even imagine a person that you've identified as a possible person to use your service, someone you know. Have a look at what that person dresses like. Have a look at the person's purchasing behaviors. Is that person buying groceries? From what grocery stores are they buying groceries? Do they have subscriptions to maternity magazines when they're pregnant? Things like that. Often the people who really loved bridal photography will go into maternity photography. That's kind of a projection you can make, but it gives you an indication of maybe that time that if you want to have a long-term relationship with your client. So it's only your brand, your logo is not about you. It really isn't. It's about your client. It's about what your client needs to identify with. So I want to show you this logo. This is a magazine, I think in the UK, called Mother and Child. And this was used very cleverly through typeface, where the ampersand, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, is in the O of the mother, so it reads perfectly well as mother and child, and it also has a symbolism behind it. So it's a clever logo, it's immediately remembered. On the topic of maternity photography, I'll reference little feet photography. And the reason I love this logo is because the feet are just so, it immediately tells you what type of photographer that is. It's not about photographing newborn babies or specifically girls. No, it's babies. So you can see this as a maternity photographer or as a newborn photographer. But you know immediately, she's immediately being remembered as the expert in the field. If you cover everything, are you an expert in everything? Or are you an expert in one single thing? And why I say this strategy works by getting a niche and then also identifying a brand that goes with that niche is that, do you think a bride wants to see that you also cover product photography? Does she go, wow, that photographer is multi-talented? Or does the bride go, wait, that person isn't really an expert in wedding photography? So what brand message are you putting out there? So you don't always need an icon to do a logo. This is my logo, and I use it in various ways. I've changed the colors according. So this is my winter one. The one I opened up with, if you all saw that with the flowers, that's my summer one. And my logo appeals to a specific clientele. Okay, I wanted simplicity and I wanted elegance. So I use type, font, very specifically to get that across to my clients. It's a kind of a timeless feel to it. Now similarly, when you use a type, a font face, remember what it says. It does visually say something, okay? And I'm probably going to walk on a lot of photographers' feet here when I say this, but aperture icons and cameras might tell people that you're a photographer, but it really doesn't tell people that you're an expert in any way. It's done, it's dated. So many people have done various variations of that aperture icon of the camera. Do something clever, put thought into it, show that you are an expert. And then make sure it resonates with your client. And then I'll quickly also talk about how do you identify where your clients is. Or clients are. So, photography, whether you're a landscape photographer or a portrait photographer or corporate photographer, your client will be you. Okay, even if you take landscapes, if you commissioned by National Geographic, you're working for National Geographic. And in that process, okay, you need to understand that there's a certain element of humanity behind it. So you need to go see people, you need to talk to people, you need to network. That is going to be one of the most powerful mediums for you to get referrals in. If people have a good experience with you, they're going to use you again. Regardless of whether that experience was photography or whether they liked you as a person. I had people coming from places that I always ask them, where did you find out about me? And they say, oh no, my friend referred you. I didn't even know that friend. But somehow, via the grapevine, word of mouth, that person came up to me. Now I'm coming to online. And Facebook and photographers go like this. Like I've seen so many photographers on Facebook, but they also do it wrong. And the reason they do it wrong is because they don't really understand what Facebook is about. So Facebook is friends and family based. If everything happens from that personal page, that doesn't mean that you cannot run a business from it, you can. But set up a professional page. Okay? If you are professional, look like a professional. I've got the photo film example of, well, not for mine, but I put that on as marketing so that people know where I am. But if you do use a photo for your profile photo, for your page, please make sure that it is a professional photograph. If you are a professional photographer, why are you not using a professional photo of yourself? It's something simple. As to your geotag, be findable. So mine's at Liz Bharo Photography. People, when even the address, I've changed it to Liz Bharo Photography. Everything resonates, everything is pulled through. Also, if you do use a logo, please make sure the logo is not pixelated. Again, it comes across as a professional. People will take you more seriously that way. And as to the order of your tabs, you can actually change that order. I don't know how many of you know that, but you go into the publishing tools, I think, into settings, and you can change the tab order. Have it in an order that makes sense to you. So, I'm still on Facebook on a brand awareness phase in a way, even though I do post engagement and conversions. But people need to know the about. They need to know who I am, and I need to make sure that that description is clear. Okay? And then also on Facebook, Facebook is a social environment. There's a specific social etiquette that you have on Facebook. So what I want to ask you guys, would you go up to a stranger? Would I just come up to you now and say, hi, okay, I'm this Bharo, please use me. I'm a photographer. Are you going to use me? Okay, similarly, don't shout. If you won't shout in normal social circumstances, why are you shouting on Facebook? It's about becoming engaging and interesting and having content of value. So even if you constantly post photos of your work, are you really providing value to your target audience? So a good example is a wedding photographer post tips of what happens on your wedding day. Post things that your bride will respond to. Come time, even if those people don't use your services this year, next year they'll remember you because you've had a consistent type of conversation. And then also I see a lot of photographers, I think specifically South African photographers, post about politics and things that have nothing to do with their business. Stay away from it, it's irrelevant. It's not engaging content in the right way. So think about your brand when you do things like that. And then let me first talk quickly about paid campaigns, because I get this question a lot. There's 3 big stages of paid campaigns on Facebook. You get brand awareness, I don't know which way to start. Brand awareness, post engagement, and conversions. Brand awareness is really when you need page likes. Okay, you need to get a following. Then comes post engagement. You want the people who follow you to engage with you. There's no point in running a campaign on an image and campaigning it for post engagement where there's for likes and comments and shares to strangers. The reason I say this, and I know a lot of people don't really understand this, there's a real reason for that. And the thing is, these people are already following you. They signed up deliberately to follow you, meaning they're already aware of you. If you're showing your great content to them, they will be reminded of you and use you. If you do it on a post where it's marketed to strangers, they're not coming to like your page. There's too many clicks to go and like your page. That's a brand awareness campaign. So what happens is that there's a feed on your Facebook and one has 300 comments and the other one has none. Okay, it's about consistency. Similarly with conversions, you then get a click through or a call or an email when you run a campaign. So that really happens when you already have post engagement, you already have a big following, and now you need to funnel them through. There's already a call to action, which is a conversion funnel on my Facebook page. Okay, but with campaigns you get that too. And then with Instagram, sorry, TV isn't doing this justice, but I've tried really hard this year to grow my Instagram organically. And I did it as a test to see how well Instagram can work for people. And even though I don't have a large following as yet, I've had in the last 6 months probably 10 people contact me from Instagram alone for work, and high-end paying jobs, not small jobs. These were magazines that contacted me, and modeling agencies. Okay. So essentially, what I want you to focus on just quickly, it's about you have a short description to really say who and what you are. Be concise, be clear, have a link to your website, and tell a story. So I've done the kind of 3 good things comes in 3 rule, but I've told a very specific story with my Instagram. and link your Facebook and your Instagram. It just shows cohesion and professionalism. And so what I want to say to you about general marketing, be consistent. It's the consistency that gets you to your clients. Facebook values post engagement. So if people comment on your post, it comes up higher in someone's feed than someone with no comments. It's not to do with the likes, it actually has to do with the comments and the shares. So even if you comment on your own photo, do it strategically, don't do it every time. But you can kind of bump yourself up. Okay, so it's small things like that. And again, consistency. It's just about being a reminder in the back of your client's mind. And with websites, what I want to say is, yes, I know it's our portfolios, but if you can't afford a good website, don't be stingy with the website. Use social media. Not all photographers need websites in the beginning phases to actually get work from it. Okay, a corporate photographer, yes, they need a website. A maternity photographer, even wedding photographers don't need websites. What I want to tell you though about a website is that it's a user experience. Show off your best work possible. Don't show a variety, it becomes unclear to your client what you do. So clear, concise, and that experience, you can be the best photographer in the world. The website can look pretty. That doesn't actually mean that it's a good experience. There's something called user-friendliness and functionality. If your website isn't functional and it isn't user-friendly, your client is frustrated, or your soon-to-be client will be frustrated, drop that website, go to the next photographer. That's the mentality of a lot of people under 40. And I use identification, that who, what, why, when, how. I use it even in one single shoot. I use it throughout my business consistently. I even use it in style shoots. And in style shoots, I know people think that, okay, it's a few hours and it's short-lived. It really takes weeks of planning to do a fantastic style shoot. This specific shoot, no, it wasn't this one, it was another one. But you are representing a makeup artist, a hairstylist, the person who did the decor table, the dress designer, the models. You're representing a large body of people. Be a leader. Whether you're in weddings as well, you're there from early in the morning till late at night. You're the only one that's there consistently from the suppliers. So you are the conductor. And everyone else is your orchestra. So take the lead, because an unprofessional model or someone who's not on time, it actually comes through in the photographs. I'll tell you about a recent shoot that I did where we were supposed to start at 2 p.m. and that was with makeup and everything at 2 p.m. so that we can get that nice sunset kind of vibe going on. And what ended up happening was that the venue wasn't prepared, okay? And we could only start at 3 p.m. And when I went and rushed to go take footage of the makeup and everything, the decor people were set up in the sun. And I wasn't like, we were already starting at 4 o'clock, I wasn't happy with that shadow that was being casted. So we had to ask them to move. When we moved the ladies' installation, the whole glass installation fell on the floor and shattered. Now I sat with a miffed decor artist, I sat with a team that was unsettled. The first hour and a half of photos weren't good, they weren't usable. They might have been to a certain standard, but my quality of work, I wasn't happy with it. So use that, be the conductor, use leadership, use identification to guide you through your business. And then I want to quickly call on to reason. Know your reason. It's not vision, it's reason. It's why you keep going back. And reason is not about passion, it's about endurance. So it's Mark Manson wrote in a blog, what are you passionate enough about that you can endure the most disagreeable aspects of the work? And what I want to say about this is that Remind yourself physically of why you're there. Shoot for fun. Do passion projects. I do them all the time. We all don't have the opportunity to shoot exactly what we want every day. It's not going to happen. I promise you. There's not enough in that sense necessarily. But once you remind yourself and you put that out to the world, more people like that will come to you. So do passion projects. It doesn't have to be very expensive. I actually pay models and makeup artists when I do passion projects. I feel that then I can use the photos as I please. But also I want people to feel equal exchange, and then they're the ones that use me again in the future if they need something. So I know I take those projects just as seriously as I take paid work. So recently I was feeling a bit limited in my work. I felt like I was doing the same thing with poses, the same type of photos. So I did something more dark and edgier. So I'm just looking at time. I did something a bit more dark and edgier. And it really took me out of the funk. I had so much fun. I got a 3D printing artist to commission. I commissioned a 3D printing artist with headgear. I made floral crowns as well, which was quite cool. And I did something very different. And it really just took me out of that space where I had fun. And when I posted, not this photo, I'll show you later, when I posted some of those photos, people really contacted me, can I make flower crowns for them? I said, I don't want to make flower crowns, I want to actually shoot the flower crown. And they said, okay, cool, but can you do both then? And I said, why not? Okay, so taking the opportunities. So in the video you might have seen how we were playing around. These were the photos that came from it. And with reason, or with your motivation for doing it. Like I said, with the inexpensive things, be inexpensive if you can't afford it. You know, pick flowers, put it in someone's hair. Do the hair yourself. I know for men it's a bit different, but you'll be surprised at how many people need it to get their work out there. So even if it's trade, speak to makeup artists, go to dress designers. When I started, I would actually go to a dress designer and say, I just want to use your dress for a shoot, would you mind? They give it to you. So, other than that, it's about thinking differently, challenging yourself, and really sticking to that endurance game. I surround myself with beautiful things. I follow florists on Instagram and on Pinterest. I follow tattoo artists, I follow food blogs. It's things that aren't in my day-to-day work, so I just get a different kind of vibe and feel inspired by it. I don't see it as a threat. I actually feel really good when I see other people do what they want to do. I love it because I know that we're all these creative people doing amazing things. And I'm gentle with myself. I really am. I know it's difficult because we break ourselves down, we never think what we do is good enough, but bad days don't make us special. We all have bad days, okay? Complaints don't make us special either. We complain and it just takes us. I love this quote by Steve Jobs, well not Steve Jobs, but it's actually the Apple brand, Think Differently. But there's a saying that goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The only way you get out of that is through thinking differently. And then the last thing. We all can come sit at these expos or at workshops and we can take in information and we become knowledgeable. But the only way to actually do something is to execute. You have to implement those ideas. If you don't implement those ideas, then nothing's going to happen from it. So I know there's a stigma about being a jack of all trade. And to run your own business, I know the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none, but better than master of one. Become an expert in everything in your business. Whether it's marketing, whether it's accounting, whether it's insurance, those are things that you need to execute in your business for it to be a business. If your gear breaks or it gets stolen, or let's not hope that does happen, but if it does happen, insure yourself. It's the responsible thing to do. Because it has happened to me that at events, some of my lenses fell off a table and I couldn't replace them at the time. I couldn't work for a year until I could afford those same lenses again. Because that was an event that happened at night and I needed those types of lenses. So really become an expert in everything in your business. Even if your business grows and you have the option to start employing people to do certain things in your business or outsource it. Know how to do it, because if the taxman comes to you and you can say actually, then you're not losing out on money. And that's how you manage your business. And then I really want to go back to the story I told in the beginning. Can you see the diamond inside of you? Are you willing to give it enough attention to actually make your business work? Because I can sit here and I believe in every single one of you. But can you actually believe in yourself? Because it's only you that can execute. That's it. No one else can do it for you on behalf of you. If this is your dream, you owe it to your vision to make it work. And I wanted to give some time for Q&A, but there's also something really cool that I'm just going to put this on. During Q&A, you can have a look at some of the work. Does anyone have any questions? Do we have a mic that can go around? Can you bring a mic? Does anyone have a question? I'm willing to answer any business-specific questions. So there's a question here. Can we have a mic, please? Thank you. There's a lady behind.
If you're already photographer and you want to sort of move into products,
yes.
Would you suggest that having a different brand, a different website, would you would you link the two?
Okay. I would, so some people I know would do like their name for one account and then they would do something for weddings. So they'll have let's say Liz Bharo Weddings. Okay? So you can go through that strategy, but it's about literally setting up two kind of brands because it's two different markets. Why are you having the same brand? Because your brand and your corporate person, they don't necessarily relate to one another. So have two separate, if you want it to be two separate streams of income, great. Just separate those brands, have two websites, have two, or you see when it comes on one website again, the market starts interfering, which logo are you showing on that website? So you can manage it. If you're expert in both, be an expert in both, but they don't need to know what your strategy is, only you need to know. Does that make sense? Anyone else? There's one here in the front.
When you register your business for going to the weekend?
It depends on how, so I'm going to be very honest with you, I didn't register I was doing it part-time, and I didn't think it was necessary, but I registered the company. And the problem is if you register a company, it goes into deregistration. So I always say have your personal bank accounts and your business bank account separate, but that's if you haven't deregistered. If you just want to go with your name in the beginning, you can handle that tax through your personal stuff. Okay, there's no problem with that, but don't register a company then. And if they do come to you say, no, it's a part-time thing, I'm still growing, they do understand, you just need to know how to navigate that. Speak to an accountant as well, that's what I did. So I'm not an accounting person, I'm not business orientated, I'm strategy orientated, so I know like, okay, this and this is what I need. But when it comes to things that I'm not an expert in, I go speak to an accountant to make sure I understand. And I will sit and ask the accountant until I understand.
Personal account and you try to separate that from your business?
Yes.
Or do you at any point also put some of the work on your personal or you just keep it strictly separate?
Okay, so I had a bit of an interesting story. So I started off with personal stuff and then I soon realized it doesn't work. So once I transitioned into having a full brand and working with that brand, I post anything relevant on that brand. Okay. So with my photos, what I would do then for my personal people is I would share the page of my business stuff. Does that make sense? So I actually do have a personal account and a business account. And the business account is still this Bharo. But it's just easier for me to manage what type of friends I get on that side and the people I've known from high school and my family, and so it's easier for me to manage. So I will often share stuff from my business, but I don't do it the other way around. As long as you don't do it the other way around. One more question? Two more questions.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
I just wanted to, my question was similar to yesterday.
Yes?
When you talk of creating a website and differentiating landscape, portrait, just different sports, is it possible on the same website to put like some links or maybe different
You can
tabs?
do a link, yes, do a link if you want, but you see, do it in such a way where it's part of the website so that people can see it, but don't let it be the focus, because someone who's going to look for sports photography is going to land on a sports photography website. Someone looks for wedding photography is going to land on a wedding photography website. What's the chances of them also wanting sports photography? But once you start coming to a point where you work with SEO and those sorts of things, you need one key niche phrase, essentially, to be easily findable. Once you have 6 phrases, it all starts become like this, you drop down. So have a link, but don't let it be so overwhelming that people can't enjoy the wedding experience if you're a wedding photographer, or sports experience if they're a sport, when you're a sports photographer. And then there was the guy in the back asked the question first. And as we're growing, so I've got a book to give away. I do have 10 copies here for pre-launch if you want to buy the book. I don't know how to give it away because I was planning something but I'm running out of time. The person who can jump up and scream the loudest. I think she went first, so she gets the book, but you're more than welcome to come purchase the book from me. It will be available November from Exclusive Books in the store or late November, so it's down the pipeline. Question?
Yes.
Yes?
I think it's a 2 question, but it comes on the basis of actually value of your work. So first is like, how do you actually like determine your photo or your work, like the work, like when you go to a customer and say, hey,
are you
this is
talking
how
about the costing of it?
the costing of it.
Okay.
Like in terms of, there's 2 ways. Like,
You'll have
okay,
to come
for
and speak to me afterwards. It's a whole process. It's actually
Is it?
calculating your expenses. It's about calculating everything to actually get to a cost. So that's the one way of doing it. But rather than it being ask experts in the field as well how they value your work. But how it comes to play is that what I did was I didn't set a price and work up to that price with my work. I set my work up and then I matched the price. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Come speak to me afterwards. Sorry, I think the sound's going on.
Yeah, sorry, my question was, so slightly related to that guy's question at the top there, but it was more a case of when you have found your niche and you've made that concretely clear what your niche is, there is a belief from some photographers that a lot of photographers have personal work, personal projects, which are completely separate to your main niche. What's your take on the reveal of that, if you like, in your feed, on your website?
That's an interesting one. So, I think it depends on the theme. If the theme's the same, I would market it to my clientele. If it's about making a transition, if you've already built a name for yourself, make a big hoo-ha about it. You're changing, because we're all going to change. Or if it's a passion project, make a hoo-ha about the fact that it's something different to what you do day to day. Okay, but say that it's different. Tell your clients that it's not what you normally do. And that will already set a bit of a bar or differentiation between what you offer normally and what your personal interests are. Because on social media as well, it's okay to do personal posts. It's just about how personal do you go. You still want to be a human to your clients. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. And come speak to me afterwards if you have any other questions.
Yeah, did you want it? Ah, see, I've got your back. Even though you ladies are on a different level, which we worked out earlier. Really? I don't know. I think it was very high pitched. I heard it down there, but I think there were some guys who were overexcited. An excited man can get. I don't know how I know that, but anyway. We've got a few minutes to go. Just seeing this reminds me. Yesterday we were waiting. We had some time to kill. I don't know if anybody happened to be here. 10 more books. Show special. Tash, she can be aggressive, eh? I tried to catch the water, she ripped it out of my hand. Good luck. I was laughing about yesterday. We had some time to kill, as we do today, and so I pretended that I was a travel photographer and that my photos were on the screen. I don't know if anybody was here, but I had half the audience pretty convinced that these were all my photos, and then I started telling a story. I'd never seen the photos before, but I just made it up. So I said, look, we were in Asia, and we're having a meal in a small Chinese restaurant. You know, those eat as much as you like buffet. It was a really cheap place, but the lights were amazing. So we shot this, and then we got out to, we went over to London, where they had these very cute little furry animals in Hyde Park. You know, anyway, so there was some story that went. So it reminds me. See, these ones are different. Okay, have you all entered for the competition? Good. There'd be no other point to be staring at me at this point if you hadn't. It's really how I get a captive audience, is I offer 80,000 Rand worth of prizes if you listen carefully. What are we going to need for this? You're going to need your cell phones? Good. Let's make it easy, so you don't have to rush, okay? Go onto Instagram. Thanks, Matt. Go onto Instagram, and either I'll cue you in, take a photo of the stage, or, but not take the lens cover off, Tash. Or take any of the photos that you've taken today or yesterday, post it on Instagram, and tag Photo Film Expo. Tag, not direct message, tag. Then do the same on Twitter and write something very nice about Photo Film Expo, hashtag Photo Film Expo. No rush, we've got a moment or two, and we'll select some of those and give you some random prizes. Nice? Cool? Yeah? Because it's much easier we just give away everything that we don't have to clear out later. So we just give away things that are lying around. Like we've got Roger, we give away Roger. No, we need him, he clears up later as well. So we just, instead of throwing things away, we give away a water. It's a half-drunk one, but it was drunk by a famous photographer, by an author. This is half used by an author who's released a book on how to go from weekend warrior to freak. Okay, how are those photos going? Tags, good. I'll give you something to shoot if you don't have. There we go. What about if I wear it as a tribal dress? Or this angle's better.
Right, we're back and live. I love the way people give the hashtag and they go one word, like it could be any other way around. Photo Film Expo. No, it was 3 words. Anyway, obviously it is. So how did the tribal, Matt, we've worked out a great thing for these. We're going to make tribal outfits out of them. Skirts. I don't know what you call these. Backs, the back of skirts. Nice, nice. My better side. Face masks. Cool. Oh, we can give away some of these. Good. Have you seen the prizes that are up for, you probably know what's up for grabs. 18,000 rands worth of, it's a whole hamper full of goodies. All right, where should we start? Let's start on Instagram. I like Instagram because it's got pictures, tags, Photo Film Expo.